Great. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Special Education Legal Fund's professional showcase featuring Chapel Haven Schleifer Center. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christine Lai, and I am the Executive Director and co-founder of Special Education Legal Fund, or SELF. SELF was founded in 2018 to provide resources, knowledge, and support to families in need with children in the special education system. We will open in just a few weeks for our fifth grant cycle during the 2022 and 2023 academic year. Since 2018, since our founding, we have provided over $550,000 in grants for legal and advocacy support for over 150 families across 60 school districts. For more information about us and what we do, please visit our website at www.spedlegalfund.org. It gives me a very great pleasure to launch our this year's professional showcase series with our longtime friends and partners, Chapel Haven. Chapel Haven has been a tremendous friend to us, and we are so pleased to be able to provide this opportunity to share their unique programs and community with you. We are thrilled to welcome the following representatives of Chapel Haven: Catherine Sullivan DiCarlo from Admissions and Outreach, give a wave. Gina Apicella from Autism Services, give another wave. Jordan is entering right now. Jordan Gerard from Reach, and Sarah Elsden from Careerability. I'm not sure if Sarah is quite here yet, but
Hello.
oh, perfect.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't see everybody. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Catherine, and apologies in advance for the my slowness on the slideshow. Thank you so
Hi.
much, Catherine.
Thank you, Christine. And hi, everybody. I'm Catherine Sullivan DiCarlo. I am Vice President of Admissions and Marketing at Chapel Haven Schleifer Center. Been here for about 14 years. Actually, yesterday was exactly 14 years, so it's hard to believe. And we're really delighted to be here today. What we want to share with you is a little bit about Chapel Haven, and then a little bit about our framework and our philosophy and the teaching and learning that goes on here. And just a quick note that we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. So Chapel Haven was founded on Chapel Street in New Haven, here in the Westville section, in 1972. And we actually were founded by a couple of Maplebrook school families who were looking for the next step in their young adults trajectory. And back in the day, these families were not sure that their young adults could live independently, but they wanted to give it a try, and they wanted them to have the chance to try out some apartment living, take public transportation, maybe get a job, and sort of get their feet wet with independent living. And they figured that they'd probably just come back home after that experience. And so they purchased a multifamily house on Chapel Street and started us out with 6 students, 2 staff, and a dog. And actually, we had a lot of help along the way. And all these years later, we're on Whaley Avenue here in the Westville section, and we're serving 250 adults. So their early inklings were right on target, that people with a wide variety of abilities could certainly have their own lives and learn to live independently. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But before I do launch into that, I did want to thank Christine Lai, and I did want to give a shout out to Special Ed Legal Fund, because we have been a supporter of yours, I think, maybe for a couple of years now.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
it has really been a great partnership. I mean, opportunities like this to get in front of important people and tell our story. I had the chance to attend Christine's gala last year at the Burning Tree Country Club in Greenwich, and it was a wonderful time, and also happened to be all about ABBA, which I love. So it was really great. So thank you, Christine, for giving us this opportunity.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start out with a piece that WTNH News Channel 8 did, sort of an overview about us, just to give you a look at what we're all about. And hopefully this will work.
Living an independent life is something many strive for, but for adults with social and developmental disabilities, it can often be a challenge. I'm Natasha Lubchenko with your CT Style Express. At Chapel Haven Schleifer Center, they empower these adults to lead meaningful, self-determined lives.
We are.
Is this
Can you
working?
see the video?
So
We're not
Yeah.
seeing the
what
video.
makes
Yeah, I
us
know.
unique is
Hang
that
on a
we're
second.
not only teaching skills in the classroom environment, but we're
Living an
teaching those
independent life
skills
is something
within the community themselves.
At Chapel Haven Schleifer Center.
You might have to.
Apologies. I think it has to be a separate share. Just give me a second.
Sorry about that.
That's totally on me.
No. Technology. Here we go.
There we go.
Perfect.
Strive for, but for adults with social and developmental disabilities, it can often be a challenge. I'm Natasha Lubchenko with your CT Style Express. At Chapel Haven Schleifer Center, they empower these adults to lead meaningful, self-determined lives.
We are a classroom without walls. So what makes us unique is that we're not only teaching skills in a classroom environment, but we're teaching those skills within the community themselves.
At Chapel Haven Schleifer Center here in New Haven, the goal is simple: to help adults learn to live fulfilled, independent lives. At its newly renovated campus, the nonprofit serves students with a wide variety of profiles, from Down syndrome and cognitive disabilities to Asperger syndrome. Students like Claire Schaup, a 25-year-old in the Asperger syndrome adult transition program.
It was really helpful that there's so many different resources kind of all in one place. And so I'm able to work on, my independent life skills and things like going to college and, getting ready for a job. It's definitely really hopeful that I can live on my own.
Another unique program is REACH, or Residential Education at Chapel Haven, in which students like Mira Rowe live on campus and learn important life skills.
We do like a lot of cleaning and like cooking, and we take out like the trash and the recycling. It feels good when you're doing it on your own, and you're like, I am proud of myself for doing it.
And while these programs are 2 years in length, there's also an option for lifelong support. 59-year-old David Bershaw is in the SAIL program here and says it's alleviated all of his worries.
When we get older, we don't know where we go.
And knowing that you have this, how did that change your life? How did that make you feel?
To make it better, we all can be together.
And whether it be lifelong or temporary support, President Michael Stort says the outcome is the same.
Our goal is to make sure that they have all the tools to be successful in whatever choice that they want to make, and to be able to live out their dreams with as minimal supports as possible.
Chapel Haven's next virtual open house is Wednesday, May 19th at 6 p.m. For more information, email admission@chapelhaven.org. For CT Style, I'm Natasha Lubchenko.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you. And I'm going to try to get back to the.
Yeah. So while Christine is doing that, so as I mentioned, we were founded in 1972.
If you have a child with autism or sensory needs, you need to check out this insane deal by Sensory Moon on their best-selling Bubblefish towers. With so many sensory features like bubbles, fish, and color-changing LEDs, these towers have helped that.
Okay. So technology is always challenging. I
Really?
totally
Sorry.
I get it totally. And my light sensor just went out too. So there we go. So yes, we are celebrating 50 years, and a little bit about us. We are a nonprofit. We are a transition program. We are also, for the attorneys in the audience, an approved special education high school. So we are able to take adults who are in that IEP window between 18 and 21, as well as adults at any age, 18 and over. And, we started out serving a population that is largely a developmental disability population. So intellectual disabilities, Down syndrome, autism. In 2006, we took a huge new step into the field of Asperger syndrome adult transition programming and started to accept adults who also have social communication deficits. And so we're going to talk a lot about that today, and we're really proud to be 50 years old in this field. So along with being an approved private special education school on the Connecticut State Department of Education's approved list, we're also internationally accredited through CARF. So those of you who might be looking at programs, a good question to always ask that program is, are they accredited? And in our case, we are accredited with the highest 3-year accreditation available through the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, or CARF, which just basically means that there is eyes on us from outside our jurisdiction. And CARF is an international benchmarking program that comes in and decides if you are doing state-of-the-art programming. And so we're really proud of that. We're also an approved vendor through the State Department of Developmental Services. So a number of our families and our adults have DDS budgets to help serve their programs. And we are a fully vaccinated campus, so you do have to be up to date on your vaccinations to come here, and all of the staff are fully vaccinated. And we have navigated through COVID pretty well. So we had a lot of protocols in place. We kept our doors open, we kept our programming in place, but we had some pretty strict protocols, and we have come out the other end of it with very little community spread. So we're really proud of that. So I mentioned that we serve about 250 adults, and it is and can be a lifelong program. Our youngest is 18, and our oldest is currently 70 years old. So that's okay. It's a wide range of adults that we serve. We were looking at our benchmark data recently, and we came up with the little tidbit that the average adult here is in their 40s. So they usually start out here, pretty young, 18, 20, 24, learning residentially how to manage their lives. So I call that kind of like Life 101. And then they move into one of our other programs and continue on for a lifetime. So yes, we can click on here. This is just a look at some of the different experts in the field over time who have really helped us with our programming. Dr. Fred Volkmar from the Yale Child Study Center, probably one of the world's most renowned autism experts, is on our board, very actively involved, and helped us to found the Asperger program here, along with Dr. Ami Klin. Michelle Garcia-Winter and Pam Crook are the pioneers of social thinking. And a lot of what we do at Chapel Haven is done through that lens of social communication. So we've discovered that to be successful as an adult, you not only need to know your life skills and how to manage your money and how to have an apartment and make friends and be in a job, but also you need to know how to navigate the world socially. So we spend a lot of time on that. And Dr. Lori Sperry from the Yale Child Study Center is a consultant for us. We're actually going to be doing 2 workshops with her, one on autism and internet safety, and the other is on developing relationships. And so if you log on to chapelhaven.org, you can check that out. She's a true expert in the field, and Dr. Peter Gerhardt as well has been instrumental with us. So what are the outcomes for adults who come to Chapel Haven? The first one, of course, is our mission, which is learning to live a self-determined and independent life. So we're all about helping our adults learn to live as independently as they can, meaning that they still get support from us. And of course, we all, as we can see today, we're on Zoom. We all have adaptive technologies and different technologies to help us with our lives, and our adults are no different. Social confidence and learning to have a peer group is a huge goal here at Chapel Haven. Learning to have increased self-awareness and self-esteem, and understanding how to navigate a community safely. So that gets into everything from just your own personal ability to obey crosswalks and get around and take the bus, but it also gets into who is a stranger, who is a friend, who is a trusted family member, learning the relationship continuum, not falling into, you know, scams on the internet. All of that are part and parcel of what we're teaching. We also are very big on wellness at Chapel Haven. We have a full-time wellness coordinator, and we have a number of trainers. We spend a lot of time on healthy eating, fitness, wellness, mental health, etc. A number of our adults are taking college level classes, and so we have a whole college track for that. And through Career Ability, we also have really been doing an amazing job with finding meaningful jobs for our adults. And Sarah Elson will talk about that in just a few. So we really have two core programs when a family calls us. The first is the REACH program, and that stands for Residential Education at Chapel Haven. Jordan Gerard is the program director of that program, so I'm going to let him present in a moment on that. And then the second is our Asperger Syndrome Adult Transition Program. And so really those are the two tracks that we look at. And then once our adults go through those two programs, everyone moves into community programming here. And 85% of the adults who come to Chapel Haven to learn to live independently stay on and become lifelong members of our community. So we're a school and a lifelong community. So I'm going to actually turn this over to Jordan and let him talk a little bit about the REACH program.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. Do I sound okay? Because I have a little background noise going on outside. I have my window open, but yeah. So okay, good. So as Catherine said, the REACH program is one of the core programs here at Chapel Haven. And it basically, really focuses, if you want to boil it down, we often tell, prospective families that it's basically taking the life skills areas and then infusing the social communication piece into it, and kind of in a very organic way, allowing each young adult, regardless of their disability or their communication style, a chance to really excel and achieve their goals. We, as you see on this slide, we accept a broad variety of young adults. We are right now. We actually, it's kind of interesting because I'm working on some benchmark data. And for the first time in a long time, we actually have more female residents than males. And that is very kind of an interesting development. And, there's different factors, I think, at work there. But so it's normally a 2-year program. We do have, as it says on this slide, some flexibility where students will do a 3rd year. Basically, it's the team, the special ed teachers, the residential staff, and the parents kind of get together and we make a decision that they a 3rd year could be beneficial for their son or daughter for different reasons. It could be to just kind of polish some of those skills and really kind of take it to the next level, or it could also be more of a vocational goal, working with the Career Ability program on securing employment. So basically the curriculum is, what's nice about REACH is our curriculum is very, it's very extensive, covers a lot of different areas, but also has a lot of flexibility within it. So that we look at, we really are focused on what degree of prompting does each young adult require the whole point is to fade back where, a student, whether it's verbal or a nonverbal prompt or with special adaptive technology or visuals or whatever it takes to allow them to be as independent as possible. We measure our students' progress with a tool that we call the Expectations for Independence, and that measures, as you see there, the 4 different settings within the residence here, the classrooms, going out into the community, and employment. So the next. And those are our 4 different domains. So obviously the key word, the first one is, functional academics. That's very important to convey that, especially parents and school systems coming in, of course, they're coming from a more traditional academic environment most of the time. So it's just, important to explain and help everybody understand that, our academics, whether it's, the math and the reading and all that stuff, is really about performing a function. A real, budgeting class is about the students coming in and they have their needs versus wants. They have their sheet, they're paying for their groceries, they're budgeting for their recreation trips, they're doing all, it's stuff that they actually are going to do and things that they actually need. Life skills is a really huge piece. 5 to 7, Monday through Thursday, is a class essentially in their apartments where they are, one person's the cook, and they alternate, and the other person's cleaning and, setting the table, taking out the trash, cleaning up. And that, so that's very, very, it's a very intensive thing, they're not on their phones, they're focused. Next one is vocational experience. And I know Sarah from Careerability will expand upon that a lot more. For REACH, when the students are in REACH, usually their first year, they're really just, obviously getting adjusted, and we're kind of getting a baseline, especially during the summer. And then they're really doing a lot of pre-vocational classes with us, because we really want to make sure that when they enter their second year with us, they're ready to kind of hit the ground running with Careerability, to really look at real goals that are appropriate for each one of them, whether it's volunteering, whether it's, competitive employment, group employment. We want to make sure that, because we find that most of the challenges for our young adults in a vocational setting is just they need to be able to meet those expectations that the employer has, the environment has, as much as we can explain to an employer, and they might be a wonderful place to work, and they have a lot of empathy, and they want to have our young adults work for them. There's still expectations of behavior and, being able to ask for help and knowing how to move on to the next task. The last one is social recreational. So that's a huge part of REACH and Chapel Haven is our students. I would say 99% of the time when you ask our young adults what, if you go around campus here and you said, hey, how you doing? What do you love most about Chapel Haven? So many times you hear it's about, my friends, the friendships and hanging out and feeling like they belong and having, really true friends, some of them for the first time in their lives. They really have, it's not manufactured. It's not set up by some sort of outside party, or, it's real, organic, meaningful friendship. All right, I think that's good, Catherine, on that one. So this is, as Catherine kind of alluded to, the outcomes, about 85% of our students that come through REACH end up staying in our broader Chapel Haven community in some fashion. So, independent living, it's all about the supports and and especially with technology today. Just an example, today I was working with one of our special ed teachers on giving one of our newer residents an Apple iWatch that had just been set up, that we just set up with all kinds of stuff. And she has her calendar in it and it pops up reminders. You know, we have parental controls on it so that it's limited, so she can only contact certain people at certain times, you know, all that stuff. So that's something she really, really hopefully will benefit from, and she needs. And healthy lifestyle, as Catherine said, we have a great wellness program. That's really a big deal, of course, to a lot of most families is, you know, they want their son and daughter to be independent and learn life skills and, you know, and get a job or volunteer. But one of the big things is, you know, their health, because there's just so much, you know, with taking different medications and bad diets. And so we have a pretty robust fitness options here. So they have wellness classes that REACH students can take. There's one-on-one personal training. We have machines even in REACH on the 4th floor that the students can use independently, or even, you know, if they need a little support at first. Recreation program hosts around 30 activities per month. So that's a really a big piece. You know, parents, when they look at Chapel Haven, you know, they know that Monday through Friday they're getting a robust, you know, 8 to 4 curriculum school day, basically. But then the next thing they usually, you know, they want to know is what goes on after the school day on Friday through Monday morning. And, you know, that's why we have our rec program, which is just wonderful. And they do things that, you know, you name some kind of activity or entertainment thing, and we probably do it here. So we do things on campus, off campus. It's always, everything's usually always full. And then the last one, obviously, we'll expand upon a little bit later too. Employment. All right. Oh, that picture is actually from this summer in June. We had our graduation. Actually, Matt, the sitting down, it's his birthday. So he was outside with his, they gave him a big thing. I think he had cupcakes or something. Yeah, he was happy. So 80%, like I said, they go to supported living program, which is, you know, really within, I would say within a half a mile or so. All of our students really, they live. It's a la carte. So, you know, if a student is tracking towards living in the community based on our curriculum assessment and the input from the staff and the parents, of course, being on board, and the student, you know, advocating for that and wanting to do that. Basically, it's like having a menu of different services. So we put together a proposal, and, you know, usually it says 2 to 2.3 hours per week. Usually it's a little more out of at the start when they first transition out in July. And then obviously you can adjust as needed. The majority of the community members, the graduates, you know, really still are have a part in all of our activities, rec trips. They take classes with us after 3 o'clock. They might get speech and language services even after they graduate from REACH. They have, you know, their benefits, of course, SSI, you know, DDS funds, and all kinds of stuff sometimes parents will use our benefits coordinator for that. And then also career ability. Oh, bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
You're welcome.
Jordan also is someone who has been here longer than I have. So another key thing about Chapel Haven is the staff have been here a long time. And, you know, we're dealing with staff shortages just like everybody else, but we have a core group who have been here 10 or more years, who are very dedicated. And, you know, you either really love this work or you don't. And so the people on this call right now are people who love it here and are making a huge difference. So thank you, Jordan. And as he mentioned, so you do come into REACH, you typically spend maybe 2 years, sometimes 3 in that, 24/7 environment, learning all about all the ins and outs of life 101. And then you move into our community and you need a lot less support. So that is really how the model works. So we have people at all different ages living all around here, probably about 150 community members now who have been through that REACH program and are now living with independence, but with support from the hub here at Chapel Haven, and having a good life. So as I mentioned earlier, and I think, Christine, you're going to open up for questions when we're done.
Yep, that's right.
So don't fret, you'll get a chance if you have some questions. We'd love to hear them. In 2006, we took another big direction and we opened an Asperger syndrome adult transition program. We were very lucky in having Yale Child Study Center right down the road with Dr. Klin and Dr. Volkmar. They had been doing a lot of diagnosing of young adults with Asperger syndrome, high functioning autism, etc. And until we opened this program, they didn't feel they had a really good local program to refer families to. So they had a vested interest in helping us to start our program. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Gina Avastella, who is the Vice President of Autism Services at Chapel Haven, and she's going to present on the Asperger side of our campus. Gina.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here today. So as Catherine mentioned, I'll be talking about our ASAP program. We do realize our name is a little outdated, having the diagnosis of Asperger's in it, but it was something that we talked to our students about, and many of them still felt like they identified with their diagnosis that they were grandfathered into. So we kept it for the time being, and we'll reevaluate that as time goes by, I guess. So as Catherine mentioned, the ASAP program was created in 2006 because there were some differing needs of those who had Asperger syndrome, and in particular in the areas of social communication. Many of our adults who come in are diagnosed with, it could still be an Asperger syndrome diagnosis, social communication disorders, executive functioning challenges of varying sorts, nonverbal learning disorders, mild autism. We would say at this point, the closest diagnosis to Asperger syndrome that we're seeing is an ASD level 1 without intellectual or language impairment. Our curriculum, as Catherine mentioned, was developed with those from the Yale Child Study Center. And we also use very specific metrics that focus on social communication that we really embed into all areas of our programming. So as our individuals pursue college experiences, independent living, vocational opportunities, and obviously social relationships. Our program allows for a flexible programming options, and the tuition prices kind of accommodate those varying levels of needs. So we have the tuition costs listed as well. We have both day options and full-time residential options, and we do have some option with overnight support and some without as well, because some individuals come to us having already lived independently and they don't need that full level of overnight support. Similar to how our REACH program has 4 curriculum domains, ASAT does as well. Ours are a little bit different, but there's many common threads through them both. So we have social communication skills, or what we call social communicative competency is kind of the more common term that we use in the program. Life skills, self-determination, and vocational and college success. So our students typically come in on either a vocational or a post-secondary track, or there could be a mixture of both. Some of our students have already pursued some college experience and maybe they had some difficulty, so they recognize the need for some more support, or they might have even finished a college degree already. We've had some students who have come in with multiple master's degrees, but they still needed our assistance to learn to live independently and then to apply those college degrees into a vocational track. And then some students come to us fresh out of high school and they're just starting out, hoping to get some volunteer experience explore different career paths, figure out if they want to go to college or if they want to just start out trying to work, or maybe they're not ready for either yet. So kind of any of those combinations are okay for our program and what our curriculum can support. And then we do use a curriculum-based assessment to evaluate each student's progress at regular intervals, and that's measured in various settings by multiple raters as well. Some of the anticipated outcomes from the ASAP program in the area of social communication. Our students, we have a fairly small group, so our residential capacity is typically around 15. So we have a fairly small group of individuals, so they, excuse me, they do become pretty close to their peers. Some go on to have long-standing friendships with the people that they've met in ASAT, or they may even continue to live with them after they've been in the residential program, and they'll move out into the community and room with each other and, you know, share an apartment. And then obviously the social communication skills that are required for the workplace. There's a lot of hidden curriculum and unwritten rules of the workplace that we focus on in both our classes, one-on-one support, and also the support of the Career Ability program that you'll hear about soon. And our students also really gain true independent living skills. So on average, similar to REACH, our ASAT graduates receive about 2.5 hours per week of supports after they graduate. Sometimes that's a little bit higher right when they move out and they're working to transition into the community. And then typically it levels out between the 3 and 6 month point after they've moved into the community. Our students are focusing on their finances and how to improve their budgeting skills and their money management. That obviously is something that, you know, we try to work on both daily spending budgets, weekly budgets for things including, you know, groceries and haircuts and social activities, but then also the overall monthly budget and the larger budget, which could include a savings and things that are personal to the individual. Within the apartment setting, our students have increased confidence and success with roommates. Some of them have come here and have had some iffy situations or iffy experiences with roommates if they've been in college. So we try, you know, not that we can guarantee that there's always a positive roommate match, but we help our students to work through difficulties that they may have with their roommates and all the social skills and perspective taking, things that are really required to live with someone else and make that work successfully. Social engagement, we have about 15 rec trips per month just within the ASAP program. We have our own social recreation program, and half of those activities are student facilitated. So our students help to plan all of the activities, and some of them are independent that don't have staff support for students who have the safety privileges to leave campus on their own, which they earn as they work with us here, and we assess them on those safety skills. College courses, we have a collaborative relationship with Southern Connecticut State University. So every spring semester, we offer a fundamentals of social communication class in conjunction with their speech and language disorders department. That's comprised of both some ASAT students who are interested in taking the class and some Southern students who also expressed an interest in the class. And the students serve as it's like a dual mentorship relationship between all the students. It's a nice introduction to the Southern campus for our students. And the other Southern students can, you know, show them around. They work in groups together. It's never really discussed, you know, that our students are from a program or anything. It's just, you know, trying to understand various social communication differences among individuals. So it's not that our students are there as like the ASAT students in class. Everybody is there as equals, and it's a credit earning class. So it's a 3-credit class, just as any other college classes. And our students also learn community travel. We help them to master different modes of transportation that are really most meaningful to the individual. We often are helping everyone to learn how to take the city bus because it's very convenient for us with our location. Some long-term may choose to work on getting their driver's license. They may, stick to using Uber and Lyft nowadays. That's something new we've added to our curriculum over the past few years. And some may travel train using the train as well. And about 36% of our students have driver's licenses, and about a third of those who have their license have a car here on campus, or if they live off campus, at their apartments. So about 80% of our graduates are meeting their post-secondary goals, which means that they are working toward their either degree or just working to be introduced to the college campus. So about 80% of them are meeting those goals, and of our graduates receiving community outreach support, which is our program after our ASAP residential program. So it's for graduates of the ASAP program. We have 55% in paid employment, 20% in internships, and 30% in college. So obviously all of those numbers add up to a little more than 100%, because some are doing both. Some are doing internships and college classes, paid employment and college classes, etc. So, but everybody is pretty much engaged in something meaningful to them. Vocational development and employment, we have 100% of our ASAT students are engaging in vocational development of some sort, which could include anything from volunteer sites all the way through paid employment.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gina.
Thank you.
And we have a program called PAVE, where students spend a year in a professional work setting. And today was the first day for the PAVE students. So they were out in the courtyard, and we had a group heading off to Yale New Haven Hospital. They'll spend a whole year there in different hospital departments. We had another group heading off to the JCC of Greater New Haven. And a third group will spend a semester at Whalen Engineering up in Chester, Connecticut. So it was kind of fun to see them all out there, super nervous and ready to start their experience. So before we run out of time, I do want to have Sarah Elsden, our Career Development Manager, just briefly tell us about our employment program. It's definitely the most successful employment program we've ever had at Chapel Haven. For a long time, we had mixed success with getting our adults good, meaningful employment, but that has really changed. So I'm going to let Sarah give you a preview on that.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So Careerability, is 5 years old. We received a very generous grant 5 years ago, and we were founded to bring meaningful employment to our individuals. And Chapel Haven has always had some vocational services and elements of that, but we definitely wanted to bring more quality services and serve more people. And we started off with a very wonderful advisory board, a strategic plan, and we've set a very strong foundation to serve all of our adults across Chapel Haven programming. A few of the themes of our program, we have a multidisciplinary team that we try to make sure our staff bring different things to the table so we can think of creative programming, development, and solutions, because our individuals are also unique. And we take a very individualized approach and a strengths-based approach. So we are getting involved with our students at the admissions phase and working very collaboratively with REACH and ASAT to get to know the individual very early, notice, their sort of niche, what they do really well, and how we can build on that and set them up for success. And we work with their team to create a trajectory of their services to reach whatever their career goals are. So we're getting involved very, very early, and we can serve all Chapel Haven adults across programs. We are like an optional program, but I'll talk more about our services that we offer next. We're actually currently, you can move to the next slide. Thank you. We're actually currently working with about 100 people across Chapel Haven programming, and that varies year to year. But so we have a lot of services, and Some of this is jargon, so I'll just explain it to you in the way that I best understand our services. Is we're very much meeting someone where they're at. Like if they have, like Gina and Jordan were saying, you know, our students come to us with all different experience and backgrounds. So if someone comes to us and they really have not had a lot of exposure in the working world, or they really are unsure where they thrive or what they want to do, we might recommend that they start with volunteering or discovery, which is industry term for like career exploration, where, you know, you're really just getting out there and experiencing and seeing what you like, what you don't, what you're good at. And then say you have a little bit more of an idea, you have some experience, or you're starting to narrow down your career path. We may then recommend work-based learning, which is a lot of like internships, immersing you in a field, in, you know, a business, a very competitive setting, with support, job coaching, and also a classroom component. So it's very much supposed to be educational and learning. So a lot of people in work-based learning are actually typically in a residential program. Maybe they're still in high school in that 18 to 22 phase. They don't have to be, but that's just very common. You know, they're in that learning stage. And then the whole point is similar to maybe some of us in our professional careers. When you're done with an internship, the whole point is you feel prepared for that career, right? Or you feel prepared to pursue employment next. So then employment services, we have a very comprehensive array of employment services where we, you know, provide you with career advisement, do the job development for you. So help negotiate a job on your behalf. Oftentimes this includes creating a job or customized employment. We are certified in customized employment, and a lot of that involves employer education and can be quite in-depth, very individualized services. And then of course we provide any necessary job coaching and long-term support, whether it's at work, on site, or even off-site, in a lot of collaboration with the individual, their team, their coworkers, etc. So our
Sarah, not to short stop you here, but I think we have really impressive statistics in the 5 years that we've been around. So do you want to just talk on that briefly?
Yep, these are our outcomes. So we've worked with, again, in about 5 years, we placed about 80 individuals into competitive jobs. So I know that gets thrown around a lot, and just what that means is that, you know, everyone is earning at least minimum wage in an integrated setting, meaning, you know, you're working amongst people in the business. You're not, you know, separate from everyone. You're working with non-disabled peers, and you're paid no less than your non-disabled peers. 100% of those placements of people have retained their job for at least 3 months. And then 94% have retained their jobs beyond 1 year. And something that we really pride ourselves in, and we're always working to do, is pursue employment for the people we serve in a variety of industries, you know, really getting out of the stereotypical, I don't know, cleaning or food or flowers, you know, these industries that have been stereotyped over the years for people with disabilities, and really pursuing that person's skills and talents and interests.
And we do pay a lot of attention to that job retention figure, because a lot of times when a person is in the wrong job, it doesn't last and it falls apart. So one of the real outcomes that shows that these are the right fits for our adults is that they're staying in the job and they're doing really well.
Right.
So we're proud of that.
Yeah. And I think it really goes to our overall model, and all working so hard from the very beginning and mapping out a plan for a person and really getting to know them and individualize their service. I think that's the theme of Chapel Haven, and that's why we succeed. So
yeah,
that was very quick, but I hope that gave you a good interview.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
But when I do think about Chapel Haven back in the day, you know, we always had an excellent curriculum. We always had excellent programming, but we didn't always have a beautiful campus as we have right now because of the incredible transformation. And our employment program was really mixed over the years. It was not great. But I feel now with career ability that, as Sarah just mentioned, 80 adults in really good jobs. That's an incredible track record. And we're just, looking forward to continuing. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So I just wanted to open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions of our Chapel Haven team, I know I have a couple, but wanted to throw it open to the group, first. And so, I would just go ahead and unmute and fire away at Jordan, Sarah, Gina, or Catherine about whatever questions you might have.
Okay, Jordan has to jump off, so
Okay.
we'll field your question.
Perhaps not Jordan.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone? I've got a question. I know I've had the privilege to be to visit the community a couple of times, and I was wondering if you could talk about the transformative change that your campus has undergone in the last couple of years and how that has fostered the sense of community between your various programs.
Thank you. Well, that's a great question. And as I mentioned, we have been in this community for 50 years. And so our campus infrastructure, a term that we developed in admissions was lovingly used. So it was, old. So our president undertook a capital campaign, and even through this very tough stretch of time that we've been in, was able to raise $45 million to really transform the campus. And physically, I think one thing that happened is we have this incredible courtyard, which you saw on the very first slide. And we have new state-of-the-art buildings with teaching and learning spaces that really lend themselves to independent living. And so when you first came to Chapel Haven, you might not get that sense of community physically, through the buildings and the campus infrastructure. But now I think, Christine, you probably would agree that when you come here, there is a feeling that this is a big, thriving adult community. It's made a huge difference. And one of the things that, sorry, I have a sensor in my office if I don't move around enough. One of the things Jordan mentioned is for a long time, we were having trouble getting young ladies, just because, for whatever reason, all the dynamics around that has really shifted, and we're back to having a very balanced student body, which is important, for a good adult independent living experience.
Absolutely. I'm always struck, visiting your campus about by how much it looks like, any college campus I've visited, and how that community, sort of comes together, does anyone have any questions, or, I can continue to launch into my series.
Yeah, well, while we're checking, okay, we have them.
Oh, wait, I've gotten a question. Perfect. In the chat. Can you talk about the travel training and the independent living skills more concretely? That's a great question.
Gina, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So travel training kind of in general, we are really working on each individual's goals. So it really depends. Some of our students come here and they don't really have, another way to get around other than public transportation. So we're working on, utilizing the city bus. So we use the public bus. We work on practicing all of the skills related to planning a route. What are all the we try to plan for the unexpected. You can't possibly plan for all of it. We try to definitely focus on landmarks. So we're one of the new-ish challenges is kind of getting our students to look up from their phones while they're on the bus, because they also track their bus's progress using an app, so they can see when their stop is coming closer. But sometimes that's not the best indicator, so you have to have that combination of being aware of what's going on around you and also that concrete piece of technology that's telling you, okay, you're 2 stops away from where you need to be. We do sometimes kind of have a teachable moment where we'll have the natural consequence of letting our students miss their stop, and we just kind of wait it out and we see when they recognize that they've gone too far. And that's usually the best way to teach how, paying attention to where you are and pulling the cord when you're getting close. It's okay if you get off a stop too early. It's okay if you get off a stop too late, but you need to be aware of where you are. We teach, multiple routes, so kind of different things that can come up. There could be a bus that's supposed to be here at 12 o'clock, but at 12:40 it still hasn't arrived. So how do we work to problem solve a plan B? So that's kind of the bus. I mean, there's a ton of other, details that go into that, but for some of our students, maybe they don't want to take the bus because of, just various reasons. It could be a medical condition that, makes them, maybe not wait outside for that long. So we might teach something a little more individualized, such as a My Ride through the CT transit system that's door to door. Our students typically do qualify for that service, so that it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a great alternative if you can't use the bus. That has its challenges too at times, as any public transportation does, so we kind of teach the problem solving and the coping strategies related to that process. And then we're kind of always looking at, is our Lyft or Uber the best way to go, and what are the safety skills that are needed to access those services as well. And then again, some of our students are looking to drive, and we can connect them with driving schools and, help to coordinate. We don't teach driving skills, but we can help to coordinate those classes. So I hope that answers the question.
Helpful. And then for the independent living, all of the students start out in full-scale apartments. So we are not a program that has dorms. We don't have a residential dining hall. Everyone is learning to manage usually $500 a month. They're budgeting for their grocery shopping. They're budgeting for their laundry. They're budgeting all their weekend activities. And they're learning what Life 101 really costs. And the beauty of our program is then they move into our community. They already know where Stop and Shop is. They already know where the bank is. They already know the bus routes. They already know all of that. And so everything that they've learned in their apartments here on campus, it's going to look the same when they go out into the community. So I think that's another reason why people stay around, because they've made friends and they've learned how to navigate the community. It's a great question.
Wonderful. How do you, a couple of different participants in the program mentioned the curriculum-based assessments that are given at periodic times. Like obviously, this is, a little bit, not a mirror of, but what happens in, in a traditional IEP. Can you talk about what those, in terms of goals and, and measuring success, can you talk a little bit about what those curriculum-based assessments might look like? What is the period of time that's being measured, and kind of how you you think about that progress? What happens in the adjustment process of those of those assessments, and how it you might adjust goals either positively or not negatively, but just change them.
Yeah, so our curriculum-based assessment, REACH and ASAP both have them. I can give some detail on the REACH one at the end, because theirs is a little bit different at the end. But it's broken down into our 4 curricular domains. So under each domain, there's a set of goals, and under each of those,
that was like functional academics.
Yep, for REACH.
For REACH, it was like functional academics, life skills, social. Okay.
Yep. So for ASAT, we have the social communicative competency, independent living skills, self-determination, and post-secondary and career education. And each of those domains has goals associated with them. And those goals were created with the help of our advisory board when the program was started. And then within each of those goals, so there are goals within each of the curricular domains, and then within each of those goals, there are objectives to meet those goals. So they may be things like, is able to use a phone to, contact emergency personnel in light of an emergency, or, I'm trying to think of just examples off the top of my head. Can give two potential solutions to a problem, when problem is posed, or something like that. So then we're rating them based on, Is it something that the student can do independently? Is it something that requires one prompt? Is it something that requires more than one prompt? Or is it something that the student cannot yet do? Or, has it not been introduced yet? So all of those, so we go through during an admissions evaluation, we have a certain set of those objectives that we are assessing during a week visit for an admissions evaluation. And then from there, we're rating those, all of those objectives, which it's about 40 pages of objectives. And we're rating them in 4 different settings. So we rate them in the apartment setting, the small structured group, the community, and the and if there's a post-secondary or a career-related vocational setting as well. Sometimes that one's not applicable for a little while until we get them, started in a vocational setting. So it's rated by multiple raters, so at least that gives us some more reliability. And it's rated in all those different settings as well. And then what we like to see is that, we're getting toward independence in most of those areas. So even if it's something that requires a prompt, we're kind of toward the end, maybe toward their 18-month meeting, so about 6 months before they graduate, we're trying to see, okay, what areas do we still need multiple prompts in? Does that require then a compensatory strategy to be put in place for that skill? Or is it something that we're going to say, I think this individual might always need some level of support with this skill, or this area. So that's how we're really using our tool to determine future service needs or compensatory strategies if there's something that doesn't have to be dependent on another individual being there, of course. For the REACH program.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say what is unique about it as opposed to your traditional IEP is it isn't just what you learn in the instructional setting that we're measuring.
Right.
Can you generalize?
It's across a generalized.
Because there's stuff happening residentially in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff happening out in the world with community and college and job. And
hard to classroom model a conflict with a roommate, and how to resolve that.
Sharing TV, sharing
stealing food out of the refrigerator,
There you go.
All of those things.
So we want to know that everybody is generalizing and learning how to live with some independence.
What does the support look like, in REACH and in ASAT after a participant graduates from the program? The 2.5 hours or 3 hours a week of supplemental support. What does that look like for your REACH and your ASAT graduates?
Well, so it really depends. Some people need a lot more support than that. That's sort of an average. But so the average person is either living out in the community here in Westville in an apartment, often sharing it because they're sharing expenses. And then they have a support coordinator who is following their progress and helping them. So sometimes they might help them make a few dinners for the week, or they might take them to a doctor's appointment, or take a look at their budgeting, or did you pay the rent? Let's take a look. They might be tapping back into us for weekend recreation, and a lot of our adults still go on all our recreation trips. They might be working with Sarah and the career ability team on gaining employment. So it's an a la carte menu of services that are all right here, and everybody can tap into what they need.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I think unless we have any other additional questions, I think this is probably a good stopping point. I'd like to thank our team from Chapel Haven for for joining us this afternoon now and discussing this really special and unique community of of just amazing individuals that are taking steps forward in the life process to be important. And I had asked a current member of the Chapel Haven community what his favorite thing about Chapel Haven is, and his response was, what I like most about Chapel Haven is that I have my own apartment and I can invite whoever I want over to visit. And I think that that's, a really good way to kind of, encapsulate what Chapel Haven does for everyone, and the experience, and obviously where you all want to go. So thank you everyone so much. And this was a great meeting. And if anyone needs any additional information, I think that Catherine has her email in the chat, and you can always reach out to me as well, and I can connect you with anyone in the community in the Chapel Haven community that might be able to help you. So thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.